The average American eats 72 frozen meals a year, and for most of them, the best part of the meal is throwing the empty box in the recycling bin. Brands spend millions on food stylists and photographers to make a $5 box of disappointment look like a restaurant dinner. Most products are not as good as their marketing. Some are much worse. We test so you don't waste money. Today, we're sorting the freezer aisle heroes from the zeros.
Let's start with the biggest lie in the freezer aisle, the healthy diet meal. First on our skip list is the Lean Cuisine Alfredo pasta with chicken and broccoli. The box shows you vibrant green broccoli and creamy pasta. What you get is gray chicken with the texture of a pencil eraser and broccoli that has completely given up on life. The creamy sauce is a watery, salty soup. At nearly 700 milligrams of sodium, you're not tasting flavor, you're tasting a marketing budget. Next up, the Healthy Choice Cafe Steamers. The concept is clever, a special tray that steams the vegetables separately. The reality? It's a steam bath of sadness. The sweet and sour chicken is a perfect example. The chicken is spongy, the vegetables are waterlogged, and the sauce is a sugary glaze that coats everything in a generic, cloying sweetness. You're better off just eating a candy bar. At least it's honest about what it is. These aren't meals, they're punishments for being busy. But what about the meals that don't even pretend to be healthy? The comfort foods that promise a warm hug in a box. Brace yourself, it gets worse.
Some frozen meals promise comfort. What they deliver is regret. Take the iconic banquet chicken pot pie. For a little over $1, you get a crust that masters the impossible. It's simultaneously burnt on the edges and raw and doughy on the bottom. The filling is a culinary mystery. It's a salty, cornstarch-thickened gravy with a few stray cubes of what we are told is chicken. It's less of a meal and more of a cry for help. And then there's the Stoufferings macaroni and cheese. It should be the easiest thing in the world to get right. It's just pasta and cheese sauce. Yet somehow, this classic manages to turn into a grainy, oily mess more often than not. The sauce breaks, the pasta gets mushy, and you're left with a bowl of beige depression. This isn't the comforting hug you remember. It's a clammy handshake from a stranger. The fifth and final skip? Pretty much anything from Michelina's. It's cheap for a reason. You know it, I know it. Let's just agree to walk past it. So is the entire freezer aisle a wasteland of broken promises? Are you doomed to eat soggy pasta forever? No, you just have to change the way you think about what makes a frozen meal good.
Here's the thing you have to accept. A frozen meal will never be as good as a freshly cooked one. The goal is not a 5-star gourmet experience. The goal is convenience without complete compromise. A Save frozen meal isn't trying to be everything at once. It does 3 things well. 1, it has ingredients that hold up to being frozen and nuked. Think rice, saucy dishes, and smaller pieces of protein. 2, the flavor comes from actual spices, not just a tidal wave of salt and sugar. And 3, it tastes like what it's supposed to be. That's it. That's the bar. The biggest red flag is a meal trying to do too much. A frozen steak will always be tragic. A frozen piece of breaded fish will always be soggy. The winners in this space know their limits. They focus on cuisines that are meant to be simmered and saucy, where all the components can hang out in a bowl together without turning into a uniform mush. With that in mind, here are the 5 you should actually be buying.
I once had a day where my morning meeting was canceled, then rescheduled, my kids' daycare called me for an early pickup, and I realized at 7 p.m. I hadn't eaten a real meal all day. I was exhausted. That's where the first save comes in. Trader Joe's Mandarin Orange Chicken. It is a cult classic for a reason. You bake or air fry the chicken separately so it gets genuinely crispy, then toss it in the sauce. It's a 2-step process, but it's worth it. It tastes like actual takeout. Save. Next, a brand that often gets it right, Saffron Road, specifically the chicken tikka masala. Indian food is perfect for freezing. The spices are complex, the chicken is tender, and the basmati rice steams up perfectly. It's a genuinely flavorful, satisfying meal. Save. For a plant-based option, we're going with Amy's Kitchen Pad Thai. While some of their bowls can be bland, this one has a bright, tangy tamarind sauce, and the rice noodles don't turn to glue. It's a reliable vegetarian safe. Looking for something higher end? Kevin's Natural Foods. Their paleo and keto-friendly meals, like the Korean barbecue-style chicken, use sous vide meat, which stays incredibly tender. You heat the protein and sauce in a pan for a few minutes. Minimal effort, maximum quality. It's pricey, but for a clean ingredient, high-protein option, it's a definite save. And finally, for something a little different, Evil's butternut squash and sage ravioli. The pasta holds its shape, the filling is sweet and savory, and the sauce is a simple, creamy delight. It feels like a real meal. That's 5 for 5. All saves.
The freezer aisle isn't good or bad. It's a tool. But to use it right, you need to ignore the fantasy on the front of the box and look at the facts on the back. The real secret to finding a good frozen meal isn't in the marketing claims. It's in the ingredients list and the complexity of the cooking instructions. If a brand tells you to cook something in 2 steps, it's a sign they actually care about the final texture. So here's the one thing to remember next time you're staring at that wall of frosty doors. Don't read the picture, read the recipe. The front of the box is trying to sell you something. The back of the box is telling you the truth.